Good morning, everybody. Hi. Welcome to the first functional room this year. My name is LeBrun. I'm from Numigi in Canada. And I will be doing the presentation with Virginie. So I will let her introduce herself one more time.
Oh, yes, yeah. So my name is Virginie. I think you will know it by the end of the day. So I'm a functional analyst at CopyTV, and I love Odoo and OCA. So let's start. So the talk this morning is about how to contribute to the OCA with a functional profile. Actually, we will more focus on the history of the functional groups that we have formed since last year. And in the end, we will come to the functional contributions, and we will point you other talks to go to during the day and tomorrow to know more about some topics. Do you hear me well? Yes? Okay, good. So how the OCA Functional Group is born. So it was last year, almost here. I had some discussions with different people with functional profiles. We were not so many identified as functional profiles during the OCA days, and we were like, we could do something, but what could we do exactly? And so we had some ideas, some discussions, and 1 month after the OCA days, we decided to have a first meeting online with several people. I will present the people later. And we decided in January to split into five working groups and to work autonomously in the different working groups. We have almost one meeting with everyone every 1 or 2 months to tell the others what we've done. And we have also one mailing list that is not really used, but we could give it more activity. We also have from-a-team channels for the different groups, and a shared Google Drive in the OCA Google Drive. So what was the main objective of the work groups when we decided to create it? First was to attract more functional profiles into the OCA, to not feel alone, but also to evangelize on the tools that we have. Actually, there are already a lot of tools that, as functional, we can use in the OCA, but we don't know exactly how they work, how to navigate in them. And so one of the group wanted to focus on this kind of thing and share the things with you, and some of them will do today and tomorrow. We wanted also to exchange good practices, some use case from customers, and also shares about the modules, because there are thousands of modules into the OCA, and it's hard to know what is the best module. And we wanted to share, okay, this is the set of modules that you should always install when you're doing an Odoo implementation. We want also to improve the documentation. It's a hard one. And Julie will talk about that just later. And how it's possible for functional to provide better documentation and where to provide it. And of course, so we want to be more active into the OCA, but also we want to bring specifications, requirements, and needs from the customers into the OCA, into the developers, so that the modules that are developed in the future are best suited for the needs of our customers. And I think we have a lot to do with the user interface part. And also, as I said, not feeling alone in our functional job, because we might be several people in the company with the functional profile surrounded by developers, and the idea was also to be able to do some intervision and shared experience with others in other companies. So the working groups that we've created, there is one which is a small group. It's the 1A, the communication. I'm the leader of it, because I'm also in the OCA board responsible for the newsletter communication. So the idea was to bring what we were doing in the groups into the newsletter, so that the rest of the community were able to know what we were doing. The group 1B, it's about the OCA tools that I talked about. This is led by Lara, that is just there in the middle. Then the documentation group led by Julie, and she will talk about it just after. The a big important group about how to regroup the OCA modules and know how to implement them, led by Jan and also Charlene, and I will talk about it also later. And Jan and where is Jan? There. Yeah, sorry. And the last group was about the event, so how to welcome functional profiles during the next event. So that's today, basically. And now we have to switch the mic.
Okay. So Virginie just presented the groups. I will talk about the achievements, what we have done over the last year. So for the communication in the OCA newsletter, as you can see, we communicated our progress during March, June, and September newsletter, OCA's newsletter. So if you have been subscribed, you already know about it. If not, you can subscribe to the newsletter, so you will, for the next newsletter, receive all the news from the OCA. For the group OCA tools, they put together a survey that we sent across the newsletter and LinkedIn to just know about what do you know about the tools that are available. Do you know those tools are available? Do you know how to use it? So this survey, it helped a lot to give us a direction on what was needed more from the functional people in the OCA. We are working on a new page on the OCA website. So we will put more information in the new page, but it's not ready already. So on the documentation group, we did a lot of work, so we decided to dedicate a talk to this subject. So the next talk, if you stay after this one, we will talk about the documentation project, what we did, and what is the roadmap for the next step. For the regroup OCA modules, they start with identifying some modules, and they identified like the basic sales, purchase, and French accounting. So they started with those packs. The idea was to put together, identify modules with those subjects that could be really useful for everybody, like Virginie said, when you do an ODO implementation. But this work needs a lot of work, and Charlene, who's there, she decided to organize today a working group. So if you want to participate in this one, to see what is already like the main idea, and to contribute to that, you can go. It will be in the main room where you have the table for the touchscreen. We will have a meeting there at 3:30 this afternoon. And for the event, well, the achievement is here. This was the first achievement to have a functional room on this OCA days, and we hope it will stay for a lot of years. We also sent a survey. I don't know if you received it or if you participated in it, but we wanted to know about what do you want to talk about, or what are the talks you are interested to. So that helped us build this day today. So we hope you enjoy it across the 2 days, and we hope you can come to us and give you some feedback so we can continue to work on it for the next years. I will pass the microphone to Virginie.
Yes, so the core of the talk. How to contribute? So I divided the contribution in two levels. This is the more meta level and then a more detailed level. So the meta level is about OCA as an organization. So what you could do as a functional, but even as just an employee or a worker in your company, so you could do some lobbying for the OCA inside your company and to your customers. It helps a lot that your customers are aware that you're using OCA modules, because they know that in the end, the module that they use will be maintained, or hopefully they will be maintained, and the cost in the end will be lower for their Odoo project. And it helps to get money from them to be able to work for the OCA project. So, of course, ask for pay time to contribute to the OCA to your employer. As an organization, you can sponsor the OCA. There are different levels of sponsorship available. And you can also participate, of course, in the working group, the functional working group. And we will, during the lunch tomorrow, we will regroup as functional working groups, and we will discuss what we want to do in the next year. So if you want to join and give some ideas and lead some projects, join us directly. And then on the governance part of the OCA, you can of course become a paid member if you are not yet. But I think you are because it was it was less expensive to be a member and get the entrance to the OCA. So we got a lot of new members thanks to this strategy. You could also become a delegate. That's the members that can vote in the association. And we just had the election that is finished since yesterday, I think. We welcome 10 new delegates each year. You could also become a board member. Even if you are not a technical people, a developer, they really need people that do not code, like to focus on what we are saying during the meeting and taking notes. No, we have Rebecca, our general secretary, who is really great. But I think it's really good to have other profiles in the board to be able to bring new projects. Become also a financial auditor. So if you are good in accounting as a functional, you could be a good candidate to become a financial auditor. It's several hours a year to check the accounting of the OCA and give your feedback. It's not really linked to your OCA and Odoo implementation, but I think it really helps the organization as a whole. And of course, you could help organize the OCA day, so get earlier to help for the sprint rooms. And also tomorrow, at the end of the day, we will need your help to wrap up everything. And at the modules level, what's the logic? Actually, what we propose is, as a functional analyst, you should always think OCA first. So always search for the OCA module when a customer asks for a new request. Maybe it's already there. It's useless to redo it and to make him pay again. Also, of course, help translate the OCA modules in your own language. The Spanish localization is really good, but I think we need help for the French and for a lot of languages. There is a talk about this given by Remy just this morning. Also help improve the module documentation, so with Julie. And also you can test the OCA modules, use them, report some bugs, and you could even do PR reviews on GitHub, even if you are not a developer. And my colleague Victor will give a talk about that also this morning. And then something we haven't worked on yet is design the functional solutions with developers before they start writing the modules. I think that's the harder part, and it's for the next year. And I think that's all for today. Yes, we have several minutes left if you have some questions.
Comments? Doubts?
Oh yeah, feedback.
What was the last thing you said before you clicked to this screen? The hardest part?
To talk with the developers who contribute code to the OCA before they actually do the code.
So you're saying there that designing functional solutions is to help designing functional solutions is great. And how would you know what to design in the first place? You mentioned at the beginning that to to ruin the customer needs will help out. How would you put them like in a list in order to people can develop them?
Yeah, I think on GitHub there is the issue object that could provide this kind of.
So that would be the way.
That could be a way, but I don't know if it's a good way. Maybe the functional mailing list that we have could also be a first start. Like, I have a need for a customer, I don't find a module. Do you in your team work on that, and then organize yourself to discuss it, whatever in the way you want. But that's not. I don't have a clear idea on that, and I think if you have, join us tomorrow.
Other questions?
Maybe for the audience, but who here has ever, as a analyst, done a PR review for OCA module? Because I have. Have you also ever found it to be kind of, not feeling that logical as someone who can read a bit of code but not like truly contribute to optimizations or to actually do the review? Because I oftentimes have the idea that I'm not really contributing but just signing off on it and saying, hey, this seems to work. Is that something that other people are experiencing as well? I think so. Because there's a tendency for reviews, I feel at least, to be quite terse and very technically minded. Mm-hmm. And I would like to see a bit more, I guess, functional conversations on the PRs. I know GitHub normally doesn't function that way, or at least on GitLab doesn't, for example. Yeah. But the unfortunate thing is that GitHub as a platform for OCAs right now so development-minded and it's so process-driven that through that force you don't really see the trees of, okay, what was the functional intent here? It's just, I know I'm rambling a bit, but I was trying to get a sense of the room of how you feel. Maybe you think about, okay, can we be a little bit more talkative on GitHub?
If I may say, yeah, I think this really connects also with the next talk about documentation, because if you're approving or rejecting API as functional, I think mostly what you are saying is that, yes, this module is doing what the documentation is saying it should do. And I really agree with you on the fact of also going deeper being more talkative about what are you trying to achieve with this model? What is the initial customer's request? How did you get to this, which is the endpoint? In the end, you're translating into software what the customer's need. Maybe not just that customer, but a wider audience. So yeah, I do quite a few reviews of on GitHub because internally our process really starts with design functional solutions with developers. So actually, I have in mind what we are going to develop functionally before we start developing.
Well, I find that to be interesting because for us it's the same, and then maybe I sign off on one of my own developers' work on GitHub, but then the whole conversation that I had with my developer on, okay, maybe some kind of implementation problem, it's hidden. Yeah. And on OCA as well, sometimes you find these great nuggets of information, but it was on the mailing list. And it's nowhere in the module documentation, and it's nowhere on any PR related to the module. And I find it to be unfortunate because I don't have the time to be subscribed to all the mailing lists. And I don't know, just putting it out there that we're not having the functional talks in a single logical place yet. Sometimes it's issues where good conversations are to be found. Sometimes it's the PRs even, oftentimes it's the mailing list, and a lot of times I don't find anything. I'm just going to read the code and think, okay, this looks good. I don't know why it was ever made.
Thank you. It was a good point, and we had those discussions too when we regrouped 1 year ago, and that's great. Other comments? We have 5 minutes left. Yes?
So I've never done a PR review on GitHub for the OCA, but I know that when I do QA internally, one of the things I always do is I outline what I believe the intent of the module was, and then I outline the entire QA process, so how I configure things, what I tested, why I tested, and what the outcome was. And I think something like that could be helpful, because then it's also serving not just as a, do we feel like this is tested, but also what's the intention, and then it also provides a backbone for bigger documentation, because somebody has essentially the process that the person that QA'd it went through, and they can build upon that, even if they're slightly less technical, somebody who's already kind of gone through the entire process, set up the framework for them. So maybe a format like that.
That sounds better than 75% of module documentation.
Great, thank you for your comment. Other?
You mentioned there's a website to communicate all these functional new things to the community, and it's not ready yet. I haven't seen the schedule for a functional team, but maybe it will be a good idea to sprint and try to finish it while we are all together here.
Yes, it's not a new website. It will be a section into the OCA website, but yes, it will be great to work together on progressing. We will welcome every help you can give us, for sure.
Is there a free space in the schedule for this?
We didn't.
We will have to cancel a talk.
Okay, which talk we will? No. No, but it's a good idea. We didn't think about it.
But we can have, like we will have the sprint, the workshop this afternoon in the code sprint. We could have the same tomorrow, and put it in the schedule. I can organize that. Yes.
Other?
Congratulations on the initiative.
Thank you. Well, so we welcome you to stay for the next talk, which will be about module documentation.